Graham, I appreciate your help with this. I want to welcome everyone. I'm so glad we could come together here this morning. And I also want to make sure to thank the vehicle residency organizers for bringing this summit to fruition. I've been a little bit part of it in the background, and they have put in hours and hours and hours and a great deal of thought and to bring it all together. So thank you so very much. This session, as you've heard a couple of times already this morning, will give you information about one slice of the vehicle dwelling lifestyle. How this slice it works for us to live and thrive as vehicle dwellers. For many of us, these issues of thriving in vehicles is not an issue at all. For others, it's crushing. With that introduction, I'm going to let you know that my name is Phyllis. Tongue-in-cheek, I'm going to say I respond to any pronouns spoken with respect. When I get my haircut, I ask for the old lady in the desert haircut, and I often refer to myself as Feral. So hopefully that sets the tone for the next 45 minutes. I am a full-time nomad, a vehicle dweller living in a Chevy Express cargo van with a high top. I've called my van home for 4 years. I primarily boondock, which means staying on public land with no amenities. I bring my own water, take care of my own trash and toileting, and supply my own power through the use of solar panels. I follow the weather to stay between 30 to 90 degrees in temperatures, and I do this by traveling from Arizona to Oregon, as well as using elevation to my advantage. This morning, I have several other nomads that I know that I thought would be a great asset to this meeting this morning because they have a variety of experiences. They've lived in a variety of rigs. They do a variety of camping and have been out here long enough to really know how to get around. The thing I'm going to ask my panel is that I have not, there may be people in the room that don't know the terms we use, like stealth and boondocking. So when you explain what kind of camping you do, would you please mention what that means to make sure everybody's clear? And Olivia might have a little different definition from it than Deb or Jackie, and that's okay. Go ahead and state your particular definition of it. So with that, I'm going to ask Deb to start, please. And if you'd please introduce yourself.
Absolutely. Thanks, Phyllis. I'm Deb. I am a full-time nomad. I started out with a Prius limo, which was a great practice vehicle for me. Obviously, Priuses don't have a lot of clearance, and I couldn't find somebody to work on it. So I transitioned to what I currently have, which is a Kia Sorento SUV, and it's served me very well being a nomad. I've been out here for about a year. I typically do stealth parking, which to me means finding ways to park in cities where I won't be obtrusive. I blend into the background. I purposely do things to my vehicle that make it that way. And so far, knock on windows, I haven't had the knock. But I also do boondocking, which means taking advantage of public land that's free to stay on for various periods of time, depending on the locality. Is there anything else I missed, Phyllis?
I think that works really well. I'm curious though, just briefly, did you do anything to your rig that, or did you keep all your seats in it, or how can you, do you sleep on the back seat?
I sleep on the back seat, east-west, and that works out really well. Even I do it diagonally sometimes during the night. There is a huge cargo area in the back, and part of it has a basement. And that's really all I need. I like to spend most of my time outside, so this works really well for me.
Very good. Well, we'll get to learn a little bit more about your lifestyle as we go along. I'm going to ask Olivia if she would introduce herself, please.
Hello, everybody. I am Olivia Wong. I refer to myself as a she, her, are my pronouns. And I am a multi-race, beautiful multi-race person in a pink shirt with glasses on. My journey started 4 years ago when my husband died. It was a journey that I was supposed to take with him. And because of injuries from trucking. I was a truck driver. I'm retired now. I decided I needed to go ahead and live my life before I can't live my life. My lifestyle is the choice. It is a blessing to live this lifestyle. I've had 6 rigs in 4 years. The reason being the Saturn was too small and it didn't have 4-wheel drive. The F-150 was too big. And then the Ford Explorer didn't have 4-wheel drive either. The Astrovan, no 4-wheel drive. Finally, I ended up in a 3-row Buick Enclave. I liked the 3-row, but it didn't have 4-wheel drive. So now I'm in a Nissan Pathfinder, and I took all the seats out, but usually it would have 3 rows, and it does have 4-wheel drive. Yay! So I have a basement, like Deb said. You have this little dip before you get to the tire parts where you can take everything out, and that's your basement. And then I have a rooftop storage. So every single thing that I own is with me. I don't have a storage aside from what I carry. And I stealth camp. Stealth camping to me means being able, like going to a car dealership. You go to the service entrance right before you pull in and you park right there like you're going to get your car service. Or you're at a hotel and nobody's going out there to check who is actually registered in the hotel. Truck stops, they're usually not knocking to see, do you even belong here? They're just not going to do it. I boondock a lot because I love looking at the mountains. Like I said, I have 4-wheel drive, so I go where everybody else can't get to. The reason I do that is because the land does get tired with everybody trampling on it all the time. And since everyone else can't do it, I'll take the responsibility and I'll do that. Let's see. Did I miss it? Oh, another kind of camping I do is at national parks. I'm a America Beautiful pass holder, and it allows me to go into national parks and either get a discount for my camping, or I can disperse camp inside the national park. Let's see, another note here. I don't consider myself homeless. My vehicle is my home. It is my choice to have this home. I do have a plot of land for when I get old and I'm on a walker. I'll go over there and walk on that. But right now I have the strength. And when you're a cancer survivor, you want to live your blessed life once you've been given a second chance. And Phyllis, you have any questions? Did I miss anything?
Oh, there'll be more. There'll be more. Thank you.
Okay.
That was a great introduction. You really touched on some very important things, and we'll definitely come back and visit more.
Right.
I would like to see if Jackie and Richard are in the room. Were you able to get connected this morning, Jackie?
We are here.
Oh, wonderful. I am so glad. Good morning. This next the next people I'd like to introduce you to are Richard and Olivia. Pardon me, not Richard and Olivia. Jackie, don't listen to that. It's Jackie and Richard, not Richard and Olivia. And now that I've totally confused everybody. Jackie and Richard, there we are. Go ahead, Jackie and Richard, please introduce yourselves.
Hi all, I'm Jackie.
And I'm Richard.
And we're the Huttons. We have been full-timing since 2021. We do stealth camping, we do mooch docking, and we do boondocking. I'm originally from Guyana, South America. I'm a mutt. And I love being me. I love being a nomad. Stealth camping for us is being in a hospital parking lot or anything like that where it looks normal and nobody would bother you. Mooch docking, on the other hand, is that I like farming and planting. So we choose different little farms in the area to go to. We will, call the people up, talk to them and said, okay, this is who we are. We'd like to come on your land. We can exchange some of the work on your farm for staying on the farm. And that is usually acceptable because they need all hands on deck. And of course, we do boondocking, which is fantastic. No services. Man, you have to be humble and live simple. If there's anything that I missed, let us know, or we'll wait for other questions.
Well, Jackie, you and Richard are quite remarkable anyway. But there's one other thing that I think would even bring that up a notch for the people that are listening this morning, for you to tell them what kind of vehicle you're in.
Oh, we, as a couple, we are in a 2018 Dodge Caravan minivan, where we took out all the seats and we have, what is a
Bed platform?
We have 2 rooms apartment in it. We have our bed. We have our bed on top, and on the bottom we have storage. Like Deb said, we have basement.
Very good. And how long have you been together and still love each other?
Oh my goodness. We've been together 24/7, 365 since 2018.
Wonderful. Wonderful. That's a miracle in its own.
Oh, yes, it is.
All right. So what I'd like to do now is ask a few questions. And if I have one other introduction I'd like to make is Lisa B. Lisa B is monitoring the chat for me this morning. And if people have questions that you'd like to ask, I'd like to, as much as possible, include those questions this morning. And Lisa will pick them up out of the chat and vocalize them so that we can add them to what we're talking about. Thank you for being here, Lisa. I appreciate it. All right. So we covered a little bit about where, part of the description of the session this morning is where do we park? And we covered a little bit of that. I'm wondering, though, how you find places to park. Because, if you're stealthing in town, that's one thing. You find the hospitals, you find the locations that you want to, because you know that you can overnight at Cracker Barrel or Cabela's or something like that. But where do you park? How do you find other places to park when you stealth? You mentioned, Jackie, how you find mooch docking locations. And we call that mooch docking tongue in cheek. Why do we call it mooch docking, Jackie?
We call it mooch docking because we don't pay a penny. We just exchange our services, like helping on the farm or helping in somebody's yard, just so we can park safely, to be in our van. And
Exactly.
Okay, go ahead.
So tell me, Jackie, as long as you've got the floor, how do you find boondocking places?
Boondocking, one of our favorite places to find boondocking areas is on to, what is it? Free campsites. Is that it? Freecampsites.net.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing. We have looked at Canada and Mexico and all that. It is so much. Beautiful.
Yeah, there are a lot of good apps out there. Freecampsites.net is really one that's mentioned quite a bit. Olivia,
Yeah.
you mentioned that you do a lot of, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, Phyllis, it's Lisa. Egla would like to know how they shower.
Okay. Let me jump in on this one thought here and ask Olivia how she finds her more remote boondocking locations, because she does use her 4-wheel drive, and then we'll move on to showering. An atlas, a paper map.
I told you I'm a retired truck driver, and I'm old school all day, every day, because if the internet ever goes out, I will not be lost. And also I do use the app iOverlander and NPS, National Park Services. And I look for the broken roads. You can always see the broken roads, and that's 4-wheel drive usually.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. Our lives as nomads is dramatically different than it was back in the 90s before the internet was so prevalent, and definitely us having the ability to have remote internet. And we'll talk about that in a minute as well. But while we've got you on the floor, Olivia, I'd like to ask you how you shower.
It's in the back. I have a tent, a tailgate tent that goes over my tailgate. And I step inside there and I have all my little clothes all neatly piled up. And I have one of those garden sprayers, but it has a little hose nozzle on there. And I wash my hair first. And usually I try to use my water 2 times because I conserve. So I wash my hair first. It's not as dirty as my body. And then I wash my body and get dressed.
So how many gallons of water do you travel with?
5.
And how long does that last you?
Depends on how much I drink. It can last me from 5 to 7, sometimes 10 days.
Okay.
And on the 10 days, it is 24 ounces of water per day.
Good to know. Thank you.
Phyllis?
I'd like to, yes.
Yes, Nakia would like to know if Jackie and Richard can talk about their experiences with stops by park rangers or law enforcement, either in BLM or state and national parks or anywhere else on their travels.
Good, good, good. Before we move on to that, I need to find out how Deb stays clean.
It depends on where I am. If I'm stealth parking in the city, I do have a monthly membership nationwide with Planet Fitness. I also occasionally stop at small mom and pop fitness places in smaller towns where there aren't Planet Fitnesses, and you can usually get a guest pass for a day where I'll work out and then shower. If I'm boondocking, I'll do the same thing that the other folks mentioned. You just use a small amount of water and wash up and you're good to go.
So do you use a separate shower tent, or do you use a bowl of water and a washcloth?
I had a tent in the beginning and it just got to be too much to keep track of. So I don't have one anymore. I've got a collapsible bucket and lots of different types of towels and Dr. Bronner's soap, and it's all good.
Very good. Very good. All right. I'm going to move on to the question that was in the chat, which is what about the knock? And I'd kind of like to hear from all of you. You know, what's your experience with it? How do you cope with it? What do you do to prevent it? Jackie, do you want to start? You and Richard? You're muted, dear. There you go.
Okay. So far, thankfully, we have never got the knock. What we do is when we go anywhere, a restaurant, parking spot, or the hospitals, we go in and we let them know this is what we are, and we'd love if you would allow us to stay overnight. And we're there. If by any chance a police can come or whatever, what I do is before I kind of think about it's kind of proactive. We will look around the area in the city, and if we see police activities around there, we approach the police. We go become friendly with them and talk with them and explain to them what it is and ask them if they've ever heard of such a thing. And if they have not, then you talk to them, explain to them what it is, and tell them, you know what, this area, we'd love to come and spend the night here. If it's a no, then we go spend the night in the police station, the police parking lot, you know, because you get them talking and they get to talk about themselves, because not all the time they're able to talk about themselves. And when they're able to open up, you become friends. And then the thing with me, I love cooking. So I introduced, I said, well, this is what I cook. This is where I'm from. I can make dinner for you, or whatever it is. So, oh yeah.
Good way to go.
No. No.
Very good. I'm going to go to Deb, because you do a lot of stealth camping. How does it work for you?
So far, no knock. I watched every Bob Wells video and everybody else on this topic of how to be as inobtrusive and unobvious as possible. I have window coverings that totally black out my windows. So I make a practice of getting to a spot around dark as much as possible. And then you're just there. You don't draw attention to yourself with music, with light, with getting in and out of your doors. It's actually quite pleasant and cozy, and I enjoy those opportunities. And I would agree with Jackie and Richard about going in and asking for permission in certain spots. If I see that there are fellow nomads in the area, I feel safe enough to just join the group, so to speak, and take part that way.
Thank you.
Phyllis,
Olivia,
another question related. Audrey would like to know how females stay safe out there.
that's a good one, and I want to address that. That's a very good question. But I'd also like to hear from Olivia, because of the amount of boondocking she's done, especially in the backcountry. What have you had any encounters with rangers, or what we call LEOs, law enforcement officers?
Sorry, I got booted. Was that for me?
Yes, please.
I have, in 4 years, I've only encountered one state officer, and that was totally my fault. I was driving and driving, you get in a groove, and I just pulled off the ramp because I was so tired and I just wanted to sleep for an hour. And I got the knock, and he said, "Are you okay?" I said, "I am just so tired. I need to sleep." And he said, "Okay." And that was it. If you're polite, they usually don't bother you.
Very good, very good. I've only experienced, well, I've had Leos coming to my rig 2 different times, well, 3 different times in my 4 years, and they've been very polite. One came out because they needed to verify that they had had a complaint from housing that was nearby, and they came out in order primarily to make sure that we were camping. We were not looking to entrench ourselves in set up a little homestead. And it was a wonderful opportunity for us to network with him and talk about what we do, and it was a very pleasant experience. Another situation was at a national forest, and a Leo approached us. Again, just making sure that he knew that they really enforced their 14-day stay, because a lot of places have limits on how long you can stay. And was great, was able to tell us a lot of things about the area and other places to go that would have good internet signal. A great resource. It turned out to be very friendly. That was during the day. It was not none of my experiences were not in the middle of the night, which would be a different feeling altogether, I'm sure. And then Lisa said that there's a question from the chat about safety. And I wonder how it is for us. We've got a diverse group here. We've got Deb, who travels singly. I travel singly. But Olivia and not Olivia and Richard, Jackie and Richard. I'm going to get in trouble here by the end of this conversation. Jackie and Richard travel as a couple. And then, Olivia, you're also, but you've had different size vehicles. And how does that affect your safety? And how did it affect your decision on what kind of rig to be traveling in? Okay, I need to call somebody. Olivia, run with it.
Okay. The Nissan is pretty stealth. It serves all of my purposes. As far as feeling safe, where I go, if anybody is out there, God help them, because I mean, I'm just in the middle of nowhere. And so if I get approached, they really need to have a good reason to approach me.
Very good. All right. So you don't feel at all threatened then while you're out there, being that you are alone?
No, not at all. It's not like there's a murderer on the loose and he's looking for how many thousands of acres to see an opportunity. It just doesn't happen that way.
Wonderful.
And state of mind too.
State of mind, yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Deb?
I like to describe it that people watch too many made for TV movies, and that it's safer out there than it is, statistically safer out boondocking than it is to be in the cities. And it is all about mindset. Um, if you have confidence in what you're doing after you've done this for a while, you know where not to go. You learn to listen to your inner guidance about, ooh, this just doesn't feel right. You have the key, turn it, and go park somewhere else. So I don't feel unsafe out here. It's just not an issue.
Very good. Even in town, even when you're stealth camping.
Even in towns, even in
Okay.
towns. Because again, if you use your brain about where you go, where you park, what you're doing in your vehicle to not call attention to yourself, you just blend in.
I'd like to share one experience I had just this summer out in National Forest, and I was quite a ways away from anyone else. And it was 10:30 at night, and a truck pulled up. And that was really unusual. I'd never experienced that. And it was a little bit nerve wracking. I thought, holy mackerel. And I wasn't at all prepared for something like that. What I did do is I picked up my phone, and I first of all felt somewhat relaxed because the person in the passenger seat was a woman, even though the driver was male. And that put me at ease. For some reason, I felt, well, this is somebody I can relate to. And when we started talking, they were out there looking for somebody. Well, that sounded like, help me find my puppy. I really was kind of like leery of that. But after there was a persistence in conversation, I got out of my van and I went and I talked with them. And we had a wonderful conversation. Turns out that the area I was in was a place where people go looking for garnet. And they did find the person while I was chatting with the woman. The person they were looking for came up, and turned out he was a geologist, and we had a great conversation about garnet, and he showed me what they look like. And it turned out to be an incredibly positive experience. Again, so it goes to what Olivia said. What is somebody coming out into the dark looking for somebody to prey upon? Just pretty unlikely. Jackie, did you, Richard, have anything you wanted to add to that? If not, we'll move along.
No, we can move along.
Okie doke. I would like to know, what do you do about getting, I mean, I did ask Olivia how long she's able to manage on the water she carried with her. How do you handle the water and the trash that you generate? We all generate trash. What do you do with it, Deb?
I generally have very tiny bags that I probably put in receptacles more often than other people might, but it also makes it less obtrusive. Water, I filter my water, and I have about 5 gallons at a time. If you're out in the Southwest, you know about water kiosks where you can get gallons of water for 5 cents or maybe a little bit more, 5 gallons for $1. Or there are other ways, like on iOverlander, there will be maps that will tell you where water is available that you don't have to pay for.
And how long can you stay out in your rig if you decide to boondock? How often do you have to go to town?
I could probably do it for about a week at a time, but I like fresh food, produce. So I haven't gone much longer than that myself.
So your refrigerator doesn't hold much?
I don't have a refrigerator.
Oh, you don't have a refrigerator. Oh, really? And how do you make that work?
I learned it from the best, from Phyllis. Learn to buy your food and eat it in pacing with the rate that it's going to spoil. And I also use a lot of freeze-dried vegetables and brown rice, which lasts forever. The vegetables have a 20-year shelf life before you open them, and about a year after you open them. And I do mean freeze-dried and not dehydrated. I've tried both, and I prefer the freeze-dried.
Yeah, very, very good. Jackie and Richard, how long can you guys stay out without having to go back to town?
We do shopping every 2 weeks. Not that we have to, but we go out to town because we like to see people also. So every 2 weeks we go shopping. We have a 58 quart refrigerator that we store our items, fresh vegetables and meats. So we go out, buy what it is we want, and we carry 10 gallons of water with us. So it lasts for the 2 weeks, and then we go out and refresh what it is we want. I also cook every 2 to 3 days. When I cook, we eat that same thing for 2 to 3 days before I cook again. So it works out wonderfully. Boondocking, if you've never done it, give it a try. It's an amazing thing.
Phyllis,
Yes, Lisa.
our own Bobby has a really good question. Has anybody on the panel had to deal with being ill while traveling or talk about their healthcare situation on the road?
I'm going to open that up. Does anybody have something to contribute about health or medical care while you're on the road? Deb or Jackie?
Oh, we never had to deal with a medical situation, but one thing I did have before we left Florida to do boondocking is that we got insurance, medical insurance that we can use anywhere in the country. And that works fine just for emergencies, just in case.
Very good. Olivia, have you had any experience with that on the road?
Like I said, I went through cancer, and with the radiation, my tummy does not like milk. It doesn't like cheese. It doesn't like meat. So I have issues when I venture out to get more protein into my diet. And when that happens or when it flares up, I just sit still for a few days. Now, as far as the health insurance, I do not have health insurance because if the cancer ever comes back, I have no intention of trying to extend the quantity of my life. For me, it's about my quality at this point.
Very good. Very good. There's so much more I would like to ask you. This really would be at least a 2-hour conversation, but I think I would like to let it go freeform here a little bit. And I want to ask each of you, what is the most difficult and what's the easiest part of being a vehicle dweller? Whoever, just jump in and give me your thoughts.
Okay, I will. Okay, so for me, the most challenging is the toilet. I use cedar and now aspen, and I've used pine. And if I just cover it and just let it pile up, I have a 5-gallon bucket. I can stay out if I don't have any episodes. I can stay out maybe 5 days, and it doesn't smell. It doesn't smell at all. My trash, I'm pretty good with, but it's the toileting. I'd really, really like to be able to stay out 14 days, and I just don't see it happening. I'm not able to do that comfortably.
We'll talk. We'll talk. I've got some ideas for you. What's the easiest thing for you, Olivia?
The easiest thing for me is the drive. I can drive for 10 hours, 12 hours, no problem. I don't do that unless I'm really, really headed somewhere, but I enjoy the journey. I stop and smell the roses. I stop and take pictures of the smallest purple plant that is in the middle of nowhere. That for me is the easiest part, the travel.
Very good. Well, that's a good thing as a nomad, that you can feel it calling you. Jackie and Richard, I'm going to say that is the most difficult thing for you is privacy?
Nope.
What is it?
Nope. It's not. There is no difficulty for us. Difficulty is a state of mind. Difficulty is a challenge to think outside the box. So we don't, whenever we meet with a challenge, it's ooh, what can we do to take care of this at the moment? And it's fun, I tell you.
Oh,
You know,
Jackie, wow. Wow.
it is fun. You know what, honey? It's just being alive. The fact that I can wake up, that I can turn around to Richard and say, "Good morning, honey. We're alive this morning. There is no challenge that we can take care of."
Oh my gosh, Jackie, I knew I liked you and Richard a bunch. Now you just cemented it. That energy is contagious. I love it.
Yep.
Thank you so much. What is the well, God, I think you just answered both of them. What's
Yes.
the challenge and the best?
Hmm.
Well, let me put a little different spin on it. Um, can you tell me what it is you like most about being in a vehicle as opposed to being in a sticks and bricks?
The simplicity. The
Ah,
simplicity. If
bingo.
I were, if I were in a sticks and bricks, I would have so much nonsense. It would be unbelievable. I am glad it is forcing me to double down on simplicity and only have what is needed for us to
Love it.
survive, to live every day.
Thank you very much for sharing. Those were
Phyllis,
just essential answers. Yes.
Phyllis, before you close out, I know you want to get to Deb, but Graham will have a question at the end. So just maybe save a few minutes for him too.
Graham who?
Graham Pratt.
I'm sorry. Oh, okay. 1 minute, please. Okay. That was a joke for anybody that thinks I'm a total dolt. Deb, what is your greatest challenge being a nomad, and what is the thing that you enjoy the most?
I would agree about the mindset. That's the biggest thing to adapt to once you get out here. I also like to bring up the spectrum between comfort and freedom. And every nomad finds their slot and their lifestyle along that spectrum. And for me, the most important part is freedom. So simplicity, minimalism, all my stuff is in here with my SUV. That's all I need to contend with. That's how I want to live.
And that is so true. And I think, Bob Wells has presented that as well,
I
and
stole it from.
you stole it for him. Okay, well, okay. And it's true. You look out at the nomads that come to the RTRs or that we meet in camp and whatever, and you will see all different types of comfort levels. You'll see people in cargo trailers, you'll see people in minivans, you'll see people in Priuses of all things. Can you imagine that? All the way up to Class A motorhomes. That brings up a real good quick point. I just, before we let Graham in here, I'd like to ask you, what do you do about community? I mean, community is so essential. Deb, what do you do for community?
That's why I joined HAWA and have volunteered for the RTRs and the BYOVs. I also help facilitate weekly phone calls that keep nomads connected via Zoom. So for me, that's a key way to stay connected to people.
Yeah. And it's a strong sense of community, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How about you, Jackie and Olivia? What can you say just briefly about community? How do you get community on the road?
Community. I like meeting people. I will, and I think people are just drawn to me, and they come. And my thing is teaching. I've taught students in the middle school and elementary school and high schools, and I love it. I love giving people information that I think will be important for them, for present and for the future.
So you're a people person, and community is everywhere. It
Oh,
sounds.
yes.
Yeah. Olivia, if you close us out, we'll run to Graham then.
My community, I have my little tribe, and we all are very, very strong women. So we come and go, and when we come, it's like we never left each other. And I go to the virtual caravan so that they ground me. The conversation I need to hear instead of the voices inside my head. And my mom, I talk to my mom at least 2-3 times a week, and she is my rock.
Very good. Very good. I so appreciate your time this morning. You have been wonderful panelists and brought a peek into our lifestyle for being here. And Lisa, I appreciate you being in chat and helping with the questions this morning. I'm going to turn it over. Two things I wanted to say. BYOV, you've heard those acronym, those letters. That's bring your own vehicle. It's something that HOWA does. We've done it twice now, where in the spring and in the fall, where people apply for projects to be done on their vehicles. And they, if they meet the criteria, they're awarded that project, and they'll come to Pahrump during that month, Pahrump, Nevada, and a project will be done for them, like putting in a ceiling vent or putting in a flat sleeping platform, all kinds of things like that, insulation. And then HOWA is what we call Homes on Wheels Alliance for short. And that's a nonprofit organization, a 501c3 that builds community in the nomad community and brings people together and assists those that we can. With that, I'm going to ask Graham what he wanted to contribute this morning.
Well, I had a question, and the funny thing is that you all just answered it. But I'm going to ask you to dig in a little bit more to give more information. Before I ask that question, for those of you who've met me, this is no surprise. But those who don't, I also stealth. I'm not a vehicle resident because I'm not full time in any sense. But I have a Ford Flex that's converted in the back with a bed and a solar panels and a refrigerator. And I love being able to camp with everyone out in the BLM areas, and I've learned so much from you. And actually, at the last Build Your Own Vehicle event, I learned from you all about the Silver Sneaker program, which is part of Medicare. So if anyone is receiving Medicare, if you are receiving Medicare, you may be eligible for Silver Sneakers. If you get the Silver Sneaker program, there are many fitness centers and community centers that offer discounts or will even waive their fees for membership, which can be really helpful for people who need them for showers, for pools in the heat time, or just as a great place to hang out during the day and maybe get some exercise if you'd like. So I want to make sure to highlight that the Silver Sneaker program can be really helpful for some people. My question was, you talked about the virtual caravans. Where can people learn more? Because you all are doing such great work to bring this community together on a regular basis. And I'm sure there's so many people here who would love to join that. And I think that I don't know if you would be interested, but I know that there's a lot of people who would be living in the cities who aren't necessarily already connected to the virtual caravans who would love to be part of this community.
Well, when HOWA in 2019, we started in-person caravans where we would post GPS coordinates where people could come together to find other like-minded campers. When COVID came up, we needed to, we didn't feel it was ethical to bring people together that way. So we suspended that program temporarily and started using Zoom for virtual caravan connections. And we have the honor this morning of having our HOWA virtual caravan connection coordinator in the room with us. Lisa B., can you talk to us about it?
Gladly, and thanks for bringing it up, Graham. It's so funny how everybody brought up, how did it connect? And here we are, right? And it's something that was put in place as a way to make it all work out, and people have really been on it and wanting this to last. And basically, we get together. I posted in the chat up above how you can join us. But every Sunday morning, we have a women's caravan, there's a men's caravan, and then there's an all-gender caravan Sunday night, Tuesday night, and Thursday night. And it's done in a little bit of a different way where we have open discussion for 30 minutes at the beginning and the end for people to ask any questions related to the lifestyle. And then a facilitator who is part of a wonderful pool of volunteers, Deb, who is one here, will pose a question related to the nomadic lifestyle. We do try to make it a safer space. We do not allow divisive content or topics or chat. And it's a wonderful way because it's community oriented. It's not a class. It's a way for the community to share their pool of knowledge and expertise as living the life out here. So hope you will join us, and hope you'll all have spinoffs because we are a small group And we would love to see other people set up their own. How sees as a huge success when there are spinoffs from what we're doing. So we highly encourage people to build community outside of us. Thank you for asking the question.
Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate you being here. I would like to mention that the Bring Your Own Vehicle event, which just finished in October, I'd like to introduce the project manager for that. And the thing I really want to make sure you all know is how much HOWA is volunteer driven. Through the month of October, we had over 7,000 hours of volunteer effort that made that happen. Imagine that in 1 month, over 7,000 volunteer hours that brought that together. Bobby, could you talk a little bit about the BYOV?
Sure, I'd be happy to. It was my pleasure to help organize that event. We plan to have them 2 times a year, and it is intended for those that are financially in a position where they cannot afford to make these life improvements to their vehicles. Things like solar, things like a flat surface to put a bed, things like insulation on the walls or ceiling. Those things that can turn these vehicles into more comfortable homes. So it's for folks that can't afford it, and then we have volunteers that install it. So we're going to be doing these each spring and fall in the Pahrump, Nevada area. And you can expect to follow our website, the howa.org website, to learn when we're going to open up the applications. Also, Bob Wells also does leads people through his channel to let them know when the applications are open. So Cheap RV Living and howa.org.
And go look at the videos on YouTube.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Lisa did the videos for the spring event and Deb did the videos for the fall event. It is a needs-based program at this point.
Yes.
So keep that in mind.
Yeah, there's so many other organizations that are creating places where, nomads can help each other, help other nomads, folks that can afford the fan, but they don't know how to put it in. They can find volunteers to do that. But this organization really focuses on those that are in the greatest need. So we're filling that space that hasn't been there before. So thank you for that.
Very good. Graham, would you, how was the breakout room going? I heard that they were running a little long. You're
They
muted.
are still going.
Yeah, they are
okay.
still going, but it's 10 minutes left until this. So if you'd like to keep going, or if you want to give people a break, it's up to you.
Okay, well, I tell you what, let's do it. Let's have our cake and eat it too. If you need a break, take one. If you have questions, please ask. And our panelists would be happy to address that. If I'm speaking for them, I hope they're all okay with that. Okay, so good. I see thumbs up from most of them. And any questions at all that you'd like to, or comments that you'd like to contribute?
Could
Oh,
somebody share where they found freeze-dried food?
Deb?
Yeah. I went through a company called Thrive Life. The containers are small coffee cans or large coffee cans, freeze-dried fruit, freeze-dried vegetables, freeze-dried meats, cheeses, onions, garlic, all kinds of stuff. Also, if you go on Amazon, there are a couple companies that go through them. And it's just a matter of experimenting what your palate and your taste buds are going to like.
I've used Thrive and I found them to be delicious. They are pricey, but they are very good quality.
You can eat them as snacks too. You don't have to cook with them.
Oh, wow. Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Oh, I kind of wanted to know Deb, where are you parked right now?
I'm in Mexico.
You're in Mexico and you've got great signal. And Jackie, where are you? And Richard?
We got to Quartzsite a few days ago, 2 days ago. We were in Mexico and we were in Winter Haven, California before that.
Very good. And Olivia, where are you?
I am in Yuma, Arizona.
Yeah.
You're in Yuma. Okay, very good. I'm looking in chat and I see that there's a question about how do you receive your mail? I use a mail forwarding service. My main forwarding service is in Pahrump, Nevada, and they will send it wherever I am. And they'll even open it and fax it to me if I need it, or email. They'll scan it in and email it to me if I need it done that way too. It's a great service. How about you, Jackie? How do you get your mail?
We use UPS. We have a PO box, and then when we'll call them up, or they will call us and let us know if we have mail, and then they forward it to wherever we are at the time.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Olivia?
I use mom.
Oh, there you go. That works. Deb, are you a mail forwarder?
I am now. I really don't get that much physical mail, so it's just kind of a backup, and I want to support mail messages and more. I use Amazon lockers a lot for getting supplies from Amazon, obviously. Yeah.
Very good. And there was a question in here about what about internet? Has anybody gotten Starlink yet?
I've
Too
used one.
expensive.
I got one.
Not in the budget.
Yeah, and it takes room and it takes power. So I don't use it currently. How do you get Olivia, do you try to stay connected?
If I have signal, great. If not, I will relocate if I need it. But usually it doesn't really matter if I do or not. I have a TV. That's how I watch everything.
Oh, you get TV signal. You actually use like an antenna?
Yes.
Oh, very interesting. Wow, what a
That's
novel
to,
concept.
that's to watch my TV. That's not for internet. That's to watch my TV.
Yeah, you
But
are
for
old
internet,
school. Paper maps
for
and
internet,
television.
I do. I'm sorry.
Paper maps and television. You are old school.
I am. I have unlimited Verizon if I need to do internet, anything. That's it.
Okay, very good. How about you, Deb? What do you use for internet?
I have a tablet that's tethered to a Verizon cell phone plan. I have a Cricket phone, and I got a T-Mobile phone just before the BYOV. And in the combination of those three carriers, even down here, I can do what I need to do, even with uploading videos, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I have 3 carriers available to me as well, and I just use my phones as hotspots, and I'm able to use it on my computer or on my phones itself. I have plenty of service. Jackie, you are going very minimalistic. You have only your phone, right? Nope. Where'd they go? Maybe they dropped off.
They
Okay.
dropped off and are just coming back in.
Okay, people are coming in now. Good. All right, with that, thank you all for
No,
being here.
No,
was-
Jackie just came back in.
Oh, I thought maybe the breakout room was coming in. Okay. All right. I'm going
Sorry,
to
we're disconnected.
okay. Well, this was really appropriate, Jackie. I was just asking, what do you use to be connected to the internet? Because as I recall, you basically are very minimalistic. Jackie, I'm going to speak for Jackie. They use their phone, and right now they're having,
Yes, and basically
right now they've got very bad signal, Jackie.
if we have signal, that's
Jackie,
fine.
you're breaking up so badly. If you could put
If
something
not,
in the chat.
forget it. I'll read a book.
Oh, okay.
Someplace where we have it.
Okay. So that they
Can
another
you
old
hear
school solution.
us?
I'm going to stop talking. You go ahead. and talk,
The
Jackie.
signal is lost again. Ah,
Yeah, they've had a little bit
We
of
hear you now, Jackie. You're coming in stronger.
okay. Oh, that is signal. It's
hold it up.
ridiculous, but oh,
You gotta hold it up.
yeah, I know, but it's
Okay, Jackie, we're gonna wind it up here now anyway. So
exactly.
we are 3 minutes to the top of the hour, and I think that Graham would probably like to take control of the steering wheel at this time. Thank you for having us, Graham.
You know what, I honestly, I don't even want to take control because you all done such an amazing job. This is so great. I just want to, if I'm going to say anything, I just want to thank you so much for sharing this information. This was such a wonderful presentation. The community that you all are developing on Home on Wheels Alliance, I think, helps support so many people, and I'm sure that so many people learned just a tremendous amount from this time, and from the community that you've developed, and that you're building on, I should say, because the community of people are here, and you're bringing people together, and you're giving people a safe space where they can really, find community and really see that they're not alone. And I think that's one of the things that we hope to, as our everyone starts to, I think, funnel back into this room. I see this room is starting to join, raise up in participants. I think the breakout room is closing. I think the breakout room just closed. So as that happens and everyone comes back into here, I'll just say that, we just had a wonderful session from the Home on Wheels Alliance about the community that they've developed. They were sharing things about how people live in their vehicles safely, extensively, shared things about the virtual caravans that they host, about the community that they've helped to organize. And just want to say that I think that highlights one of the really the fundamental kind of takeaways we want people to hear from this, is that you are not alone. Whether you are living in your vehicle, whether you are someone who is, developing parking programs, whether you're a policymaker or a community municipal employee, and you're seeing the rise of vehicle residency in your community, you are not alone. We are people across the country who are doing this work, who are helping each other, and who want to lean in and share their information and their expertise. And it's just such a wonderful conversation. So I'll shut up and let us move in to the next.
Can I say one thing really quickly? I misinformed the last group. So we had a wonderful conversation in the breakout room about criminalization. Many excellent ideas flowed from that. I said we are going to have another hour on criminalization. I was wrong about that. I apologize for that miscommunication. We do have a couple of other topics, but I'll flag that in the hour after this next one, there will be the federal and policy discussion. And that's just, again, a space to talk about some of the policy tactics. But I think, we were merging in that lane at the end. So please do hold on to your questions. I think there will be an opportunity to continue the great discussion started.
And again, we're going to try to, hopefully, I didn't hear very much personal information shared in that. We'll check in with Phyllis and make sure that you all are okay about sharing a video on that. But if you are, I think we would love it if people could take a look at both of those videos, because there's, I'm sure, so much information that, geez, I really wish I could have attended the criminalization one as well. I'm sure you guys talked about a lot of great stuff, but this conversation was wonderful too. So we encourage you to check in later on to look at what videos we have. And maybe they didn't, I guess they didn't record in the criminalization piece, but that's not a problem at all. So check in later on and see what videos we have, and you can check out some of the other sessions that you may not have been able to attend.
Okay, good.